What, you have a podcast?
Really?
Because we don't have a country
It's
anymore.
just time for a theocratic monarchy. King Trump, for life. Let's go.
I'm going to be a dictator. I said that.
We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Recovery from Politics Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Frame, and today is Friday. Happy Friday, August 9th, 2024. I don't really have any one thing I want to talk about. The majority of today is going to be on foreign policy, specifically Ukraine, Israel, Russia, the normal big foreign policy deals in America today. But I wanted to start with something that I thought was a little weird. The right has decided to try really hard to attack Tim Walz's military record. This is an old, tired thing. Basically, it's funny to me, I don't think Trump's team has any original ideas. I think the last time Republicans went up against a legitimate war veteran, or any veteran, they had John Kerry in 2004. And what did they do against John Kerry? Oh, they swift-boated him, right? And that's basically what they're trying to do here. They're trying to say that he's a coward. Somehow you can serve 24 years and retire honorably, but he's a coward somehow. Basically what they're saying is he was eligible to retire at 20. He actually has a hearing issue that the military almost went ahead and kicked him out for, but he insisted he wanted to finish his last re-enlistment, which would have brought him up to 24 years. So they made an exception. They said, sure, even though you're deaf in one ear because you've been an artilleryman your whole life, makes sense, we'll go ahead and do that. So he serves to 24 years, which brings him about to 2005. The Iraq occupation is in full swing. Mission accomplished, sure. And he goes ahead and he accepts his retirement and moves on. He does not go to the Iraq occupation. And they're attacking him and saying, "Oh, what a coward! He left at the most opportune moment." And I'm like, first off, fuck straight off. 24 years. This isn't somebody who served, 4 and got out. This isn't a person who served 3 and purposefully injured himself to get out of it. None of that happened here. Secondly, having served in the armed forces, I recall specifically there was a guy who was nearing 20 years and he finally made chief. This is E7 in the Navy, right? So he finally made chief, but he made it at year 19. So in order to actually get promoted to chief, he would have had to accept a billet somewhere else and re-enlist for a few more years. They don't just want to promote you to chief, because chiefs are a hot commodity. If you want to be chief, you've really got to put in for it. So they're not going to just give it to you and then let you retire as a chief, having not actually done the job. They want you to do the job. If they're going to make you chief, you're going to do the fucking job. So he actually turned down the promotion, said, no, I'll retire as an E6 at my 20-year mark. Not because he didn't want to be chief, not because he did not want to run his own division, not because he desperately wanted out of the military and, oh my God, he was going to die. We were in the Navy. We were on subs. I mean, there was relatively it wasn't a high risk compared to other military branches and other places you could be stationed. And it wasn't because they said, well, you can be chief, but you've got to go here and it's in the middle of a war zone. No. This guy rejected becoming a chief, rejected staying in for another, I think they wanted just another 2 years, which would have been 3 years fully. So it would have been a 2-year billet, a 2.5-year billet somewhere else, just because he didn't want to go to Kings Bay, Georgia. He was stationed in Bangor, Washington, and he didn't want to go to Kings Bay, Georgia. So he refused all the benefits that come with being a chief. If you don't know, your 20 years, at 20 years, if you retire, you get 40% of your base pay. At 30 years, you get 70. And then in between, they do factor in. So if you only serve 22, you would get a little more than 40. You would get less than 70, obviously. The closer you get to 30 years, the closer you get to that magic 70 number, okay? So And also, when they're factoring in your base pay, it is the last 3 years you served. So he would have retired as an E7 with 3 years of E7 pay at 20, 21, and 22 years. So he would have gotten significantly more than retiring at an E6, having only served 20, 19, and 18 years. Because in the military, there's this bracket. You see it everywhere. They post it in the lunchrooms usually. And the longer you serve, the more money you get. I think it's roughly every 2 years you get a percentage pay bump, regardless of whether or not you have been awesome or not. Like it really doesn't matter. You serve an extra 2 years, you get a pay bump. Period. You can even be demoted, still get a pay bump. You can be the biggest piece of shit on your ship. Doesn't matter. You still get a pay bump. That's how it works. So he left a significant amount of money on the table, and all he wanted not to do was go to Georgia. Which, having served in Kings Bay, Georgia specifically, yeah, that was actually a good call. That place is a shithole. I hated my whole time down there. It was awful. Ugh. Mostly it was the bugs. There were so many mosquitoes. But anyway, if you had inserted actual combat, we're going to take all of you guys and we're going to put you in Iraq, where it's 110 degrees on a cold day, and everybody hates you, and we can't tell who the good guys are versus the bad guys because terrorists dress like civilians. So, hey, you're probably going to be put in a position where you're going to kill somebody who's a civilian because, better safe than sorry, right? I mean, it was a fucked up situation that was there. I guarantee you, anybody who was close to retirement would have been finding a way to get out of that. Okay? That just happens. Even though it is a volunteer service today. I mean, you could say that was happening in Vietnam because it was the draft and you already had a bunch of people who didn't want to be there. But, like, seriously, fuck you. These people volunteered. Okay? They already did more than anyone else. It doesn't matter if you serve 4 years, 2 years, 6, 10, 20, 30. Like, serving is serving. You have no control over where you're going. If the military decides you're going to go sit in an outpost in Antarctica, never hold a weapon, never do anything, and just sit and stare at a computer screen all day, or your job is to watch the door, like, that's the job. You have no control over that. You also have no control if they decide on day one to stick your ass in the middle of a war and leave you there for 20 years. You have no control over that. And that's just how it is being an enlisted man in the United States military. It sucks, but that's kind of part of the deal. So anybody who volunteers, you get a pass. Fuck off. You don't get to question my service. You don't get to. You don't get to, like, throw your balls on the table and be like, bitch, I served in this battle at this war and everything else. It's like, I'm sorry I served on a submarine. Fuck right off. Okay? The military thought I'd be better here. They thought you'd be better there. That's how it works. Okay? That's just how it is. So, and again, this idea that every soldier wants to go back into combat, like, fuck you. Like, I could understand, I could cross the bridge if he was 22 years old, he only served his 4 years, and, he wanted to just get out. He was like, hey, this was a huge mistake, I want the fuck out. I could maybe understand because he probably didn't have a family then. He didn't have a life. He served 4 years, right? All he's known is that. He's still young. He's like, no, I got to get out and do my thing. But consider, this guy was married with kids. He's in his 40s, right? And you're going to ask somebody in their 40s to go into combat knowing you have a wife and kids at home. Like, it does change the scenario a little bit. This isn't some young guy who is just like, fuck it, I want out, which, again, even if it was, who gives a shit? But, like, seriously, like, there's so much going on there that it's like, there are so many other factors to point out. It's like, yesterday I made a big deal about protesting. And I was like, if you don't fucking believe it, don't fucking do it. And if you do believe it, you should get out there and put your ass on the line. Okay. And then I brought up myself and I said, why aren't I doing it? Okay, first off, this is how I protest. This is my thing right here. But another reason, I have a wife and kids. I have a family. I have responsibilities. If I suddenly disappear by heart attack due to my own bad health or because I'm caught up in political violence because I decided to go protest a Trump rally, there's going to be repercussions for that. And I'm not talking about like somebody's going to come get my family or anything, but all of a sudden, my wife is a widow who is now also a single mom with 2 boys who are barely, who aren't even teenagers yet. So, like, I haven't done some of the traditional man things, teach my sons how to shave or how to build muscle or anything else. Like there's nothing there. They would grow up, they had a father for their child years, but not for their formative young adult years. Okay, that's something that would weigh on me if I decided, hey, it would have to be a very, very strong issue for me to go and poke the bear for the sake of that. It would have to be so great an issue that it overwhelms all the rest of it. It overrides my feelings of responsibility towards my family and my kids. And that's an individual decision for all of us. Some people can make that choice. Some people feel so strongly about something, they're like, yeah, I know, I love you, but I got to go do this. That's fine. No judgment. Either way, if you want to stay home and be like, hey, you know what? I got a family. I can't do this. I'm not going to call you a coward or say anything like that. I'll be like, yeah, no, take care of your family. You do you. Everyone's got priorities. That's your priority. I don't think it's cowardly to say I have a wife and kids and I have to make sure they're safe. I have to make sure I'm there. I'm available for them. That's not a cowardly thing to do. I have no idea what Walt's thinking was at the time. It's none of our business. It really doesn't matter. But I find it odd that somebody who served more than the 20 years served 24. And you're going to say he's a coward because he didn't want to go to Iraq? He would have had to re-enlist to go to Iraq. Okay? And also, keep in mind, the military made an exception to get him to 24 over his ear thing. It's highly probable they would have said, fuck no, we're not going to let you go to 30 or however many so you can go to Iraq. You've already got an ear issue that they're probably paying for, by the way. Like, I don't know. The whole thing is stupid. I don't think you should be questioning somebody's military service. The same thing with Vance. Apparently, Vance served. He didn't see combat either. Or he didn't see heavy combat. He was a PR for the Marines. Fine. That's fine. That's where they thought he would best serve. If they thought he would be great with a rifle and on the front lines, he would have been there. But they try to put you in the best position for you to succeed because in the military, where you succeed is where the whole military succeeds. Okay? You put the smart people on the computers and flying the drones and making the attack plans or maybe doing PR. And hate to say it, you put the less intelligent bookworm guys up front with the rifles. They can shoot well, they can shoot straight, they can work as a team, they can coordinate with each other. Like, these are all good skills to have, and some people have them and some people don't. It's possible Vance just doesn't work well in a group with a team. And if you put him on a team with a rifle going to kick down doors and find the terrorist, he would have been a liability. So they moved him. It's possible. I have no idea. But like, when you get a job in the military where they put you where they think if you won't succeed, you will do the least amount of harm. They don't want you being a liability to the rest of your team. So don't attack Vance for his military record. Don't attack Walz. If they want to attack each other, that's fine. I'm just here to tell you it's kind of stupid. It really is. It's dumb. It's dumb. And honestly, Vance, if anything, should know better, considering he served one term, 4 years, the smallest enlistment you can get, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Congratulations, you volunteered. But like, if the last thing I served 7.5 years. There's no way I'm going to attack somebody who was in for 24. Like, there's no way. None. I think it's dumb for them to be doing this. But again, this is why, the Trump administration, the Trump campaign, they have no original ideas. They're just, what the fuck worked last time? Do that. Excuse me. So that's kind of dumb. Next story here is that Israel is being Israel again. And one of the major things they're doing is they are forcing relocation of Gazans away from where they told them they'd be safe, and they're displacing them. And honestly, the only thing I can look at and think of is that this is, Gaza's version of Trail of Tears. So you should be seeing a video right here of an extremely long walk of, what do you call them? Refugees? Prisoners of war? Palestinians? But they're being forced to walk through the rubble of their homeland because. And it's not like Israel's helping. There's no water truck. There's no food trucks. There's no medical aid. Like, they're on foot. They're on foot walking through a war zone to get away from it. So, fuck anyone who does this. Okay, the United States has a history of doing this shit here at home. Fuck us for that. Fuck anyone who takes part in it. Fuck anyone who thinks it's okay. And fuck anyone who thinks that our tax dollars should be paying for this because we are subsidizing this. This is bullshit. We should not be doing this. But we are. And nobody seems to give a fuck. Meanwhile, Israel is poking the bear again. They really want to start shit with Iran and Hezbollah. Hezbollah, the terrorist group with ties to Iran. The only reason for that is basically to prolong the conflict. Okay? Like, it's pretty clear. Israel won against Hamas. Sure, Hamas still, exists. But seriously, how many of them could there be at this point? And Israel's winning. Congratulations. You have devastated an entire region. You have killed thousands upon thousands of women and children. You've succeeded. You won. Congrats. You won. They know it's winding down. They know the United States is losing the PR war for them. They know that they can't keep doing this when you have the International Criminal Court and you have the UN saying, motherfuckers, this is a human rights problem now. This is a genocide. They're using that word a hell of a lot more to describe what's going on. Netanyahu and Israel know they're on the losing side. So the only thing that gets them out of this so that they can keep doing what they're doing, because make no mistake, they could stop it right now. They could stop it right now, and all the negative press would go away for the most part. Right? You'll see in a couple of years there'll be a Dateline or 2020 episode where here's what really happened behind the scenes, and it'll show us all the horrors and atrocities that they've committed. But that's a couple of years down the road. They could stop it right now. But they're not done. They want to keep going. They want to keep killing. They want to. They're not done. They want all of Gaza for Israel. They want to seize all the land. They want to kill all the Palestinians. No, you can't convince me otherwise. That's what the people in charge of Israel want to do. That's what a majority of the Israelis want to happen. Again, removing Netanyahu is a good thing because he's an asshole. Who replaces him is going to keep doing what they're doing. Poll after poll in Israel shows, yes, Netanyahu, they all hate him. 90%, it's some insane number, like 90% of Israelis hate Netanyahu. Sure, you get him out of there. But one thing they don't, it's the exact same number in support of his policies towards Gaza and the Palestinians. They're totally in favor of it. Every single one of them's like, fuck yeah, kill them all, let's do it. Like, they don't care. So this idea that replacing Netanyahu is going to fix it isn't going to work. The idea here at home that replacing Biden's going to fix it isn't going to work. We're talking about degrees of bad here, and Harris is kind of it, if you want least bad option on the table. Biden has been a blank check. Trump, I think he would be completely indifferent. I don't think he'd give a fuck. Honestly. Harris, the rumor is she at least cares about Palestinian lives. Like, she sees them as human beings, which is a strange bar for us to be at this point, but that's where we are. So, hey, who are you going to vote for? I'm voting for the person who looks at Palestinians and thinks they're humans. Very low fucking bar. Very low. They believe in democracy, and humans are humans. Holy shit, that's where the bar is right now. Strange. So we have this huge situation. The only out for Israel in their brain is we have to start war with someone who's universally loathed by the West, and that is Iran and Hezbollah. Okay? That's just it. They know the United States, both the right and the left, Democrat and Republican, have been itching for a war with Iran for a long, long time. The only reason they haven't is because they kind of spent their load on Iraq, and the American people went through 20 years of Afghanistan occupation and were like, this is not fucking worth it. So if you go and you run on Iran, you're going to run into the same problem McCain did when he did it. It's like, you're not going anywhere. Nobody wants war with Iran. The American people do not want it. So you can't run on it. But if Iran goes too far with Israel, well, then we're kind of obligated to go to war with Iran, and damn what the people want. That's what I think they're going towards. They want to pick a fight to ensure that the war keeps going, that the focus is not on what they're doing at all, and that the focus is on the evil bad guys, Iran. Personally, I don't want any of this shit. I have wanted out of the Middle East since 9/11. I thought 9/11 would be a turning point, and I meant in a like a positive way. I thought for sure, okay, guys, here we go. Here's our opportunity. The United States can get the fuck out of the Middle East. Okay? Honestly, if I was president, 9/11, oh no. Excuse me. It's a sneeze. But if I was a president on 9/11, my response to 9/11 would have been, yeah, we're going to get these fuckers. It's called the CIA and the FBI. They're going to get all of them. And we will launch rockets up the rich people who funded this shit's ass. Period. We're going to get them. I would have completely made a police response to a terrorist attack, which is what you're supposed to do. Military against terrorism just doesn't fucking work. There's no one to declare war on. Terrorists can move to another country, another territory. They can just up and fucking leave. They can disappear for a while. Like, a nation is stuck geographically on a map. If you go to war with a country, they're there. If you take over the country, you win. You can't do that with terrorists. So the entire idea that we're gonna go to war with terrorism always struck me as stupid. But I thought, go after the terrorists via police actions. We've done it before. It's very effective. Hey, guess what? It fucking works. But then I thought, this is where we're going to cut the umbilical cord, because at the time in 2001, we were highly dependent on Middle Eastern oil, right? Now, we've kind of shifted that. We're still dependent on oil, which is kind of the problem. Even though we are drilling our own, we're actually exporting oil. We are the largest exporter of oil on the planet now because we do it so much. Okay, I guess that's a win if you wanted to cut the umbilical cord with the Middle East, except we haven't done that. Like, we make more oil than the Middle East does. We have destroyed OPEC. Biden, the one very genius thing that he's done, has opened up the oil reserves to maintain your gas is somewhere around $3 a gallon, always. It has the entire time he's been in office. The reason for that, the reason OPEC or Russia and all them, they can't influence or change gas prices, is because Biden is strategically opening, closing the oil reserves. He's actually making a profit on it. So, he's doing that. The umbilical cord is cut. So why the fuck are we still over there then? That should have been the goal. Personally, I would have transitioned away from fossil fuels in a massive, massive way. I'm not scared of nuclear power. I'm perfectly fine with solar, wind, everything. I believe Everything should be on the table, and we should be investing in everything we can that is not a fossil fucking fuel. That's not sustainable. It's bad for everybody. Whatever. And I'm not saying we should go 100% solar, because again, that's all your eggs in one basket. And no, everything should be diversified, including our power grid. All of it. With the sole express purpose of making the Middle East fucking irrelevant. Okay? Look at it this way. Open up a major newspaper on Sunday, their biggest paper, New York Times, Washington Post, whatever you want. Go to the world section. Look at all the articles about the genocides and the horrible, horrible shit going on in Africa. And then notice that Americans aren't there. That the president doesn't give speeches about what the fuck is going on in Africa very often. That nobody cares what's going on over there. Nobody does. The only country that's investing in Africa right now is China, and the United States is actively trying to fuck that up. Not by replacing it and saying, hey, don't go to the Chinese. Here's some investment here. No, they're just trying to, sabotage the shit. But, the sole purpose of producing all this oil and going nuclear and getting all the fossil fuels out of it is so that they can become fucking irrelevant. That the next time there's a huge war or a jihad or some bullshit going on in the Middle East, we can all collectively look at it and go, that sucks. Hope they figure their shit out. But we're not doing that. So I don't understand. I'm left with nothing more than my own conspiracy theories as to why that is. Personally, I think the reason that we just can't quit the fucking Middle East is we are deathly afraid, and by we, I mean the people in power, the people that actually run this country, the people in the Pentagon, the intelligence community, the political apparatus, all that. I think that they are just deathly afraid of a region with all those natural resources and one major religion that is not Christianity unifying them. I mean, seriously, what's the scariest shit to the West? And I'll tell you, if Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Qatar, all those countries, if they all stopped fighting each other and they all said, hey, we're going to form our own Middle Eastern Union. We're going to form our own Middle Eastern version of NATO. You attack one of us, you get all of us. I think that scares the shit out of your average Christian evangelical in the Pentagon. I think that's the only thing the State Department is working to keep. They don't care. They don't care about Israel committing genocide because it keeps the Middle East from settling their differences and working together. I think they're really fucking scared of that. If the entire Middle East woke up one day, settled their differences, and then decided to start networking the way Europe has, the way we have with NATO, I think the West collectively would shit itself. And I think that's the only thing that makes sense to me when it's we produce more oil than them. We're exporting oil, we have so much. Oil's the only thing they have to offer. What the fuck do we care about what's going on over there? We don't. The sole purpose of being friends with Israel is because they piss off Iran so much. Why the fuck do we care what Iran does anymore? Who cares? It's not important to us. So, because no president has come out, and honestly, I don't know if they ever will, and explain their grand foreign policy vision for why the United States insists on being involved in that region, I don't get it. I really don't. And they don't explain it. Nobody explains it. Nobody's even trying for peace over there. The only thing America seems to do is we just can't fucking quit them. So either Israel just has compromising photos of every president we've ever had, or they're afraid of a gigantic Islamic bloc of states unifying under any kind of banner, economic, military, or otherwise. I don't know. They won't explain it. Makes no sense to me. So I'm left with conspiracy theories. So that is my own private conspiracy theory. I mean, I doubt it's private, but I don't recall reading about anybody having this. It's just my intuition. It's like when I look at that map and I see the natural resources and I see the massive religion that is around it, it's like that's the only thing that makes sense to me. So, sure. If I get other information, I'll change my mind. But right now, this is what happens. This is why conspiracy theories do so well in the United States. When we don't have answers, our brains fill in the gaps. That's what my brain did with the Middle East. That's all. So last thing I want to talk about real quick is Russia and Ukraine. Apparently, recently, Ukraine has decided to absolutely fuck Russia up the ass, and I am here for it, finally. I understand why they couldn't before. They were playing defense, but now it looks like they went on offense. They have actually struck Russia inside Russia, like not even a little bit. They are going balls to the wall saying, fuck you, Russia, we're coming for you. And I love it. Personally, if you're being attacked, like, it should be fair game. First, and Russia's really mad about this. Apparently, they're doing a PR thing behind the scenes with, like, Erdogan and Turkey and others who are trying to sue, saying, hey, NATO gave Ukraine these weapons with specific instructions. They were not allowed to attack Russia. And I'm sitting here like, wait, why did we give weapons to Ukraine with restrictions? And wait, we can do that? And then further, wait, why aren't we doing that with Israel then? If we can clearly give weapons to a country and say, you are not allowed to use these against these targets, why aren't we doing that with Israel? Why wasn't that a condition from day one? Hey, we're going to give you all these weapons because, yeah, Hamas are assholes, and we agree, you got to defend yourself. You can't kill civilians with them. You can't. Apparently, we can do that. We're just choosing not to, which is really infuriating because it seems like this would be basic. And apparently it is basic. Every other country on the planet that we sell weapons to or give weapons to comes with that provision in it that says, don't fucking use these to kill civilians. Every country on Earth, even our fellow NATO members who we sell weapons to, we tell them, don't use these on civilians. That's a rule. You have to follow it. And they do. The only country on the entire planet that gets the cool deal of we can use these however, whenever, and against whomever we want is Israel. They are the only country the United States gives weapons to that doesn't have to abide by any restrictions whatsoever. Excuse me. Is that not fucking insane? And honestly, I haven't seen anything from the American side on this yet. But if Biden comes out and says he's going to stop giving any kind of weapons or money to Ukraine because they struck Russia, like, fuck him 6 ways from Sunday. Fuck him, seriously. Are you crazy? Like, okay. Imagine you're in a war with a large power that, because of their largesse, they have access to resources forever, right? They're never going to run out of people, bullets, or food to kill you with. And everyone says they support you and help you, and they give you all this money and guns, but they say, hey, these are only for defense. You cannot attack the gigantic war machine over there that's doing all this. You can't do that. And me, as somebody who studies history and military, like, will tell you, like, that's like telling Lincoln and Sherman, okay, you can't break up the railroads in the South. You can't burn their crops. You can't do the march to the sea. That would be bad. Or in World War I, that'd be like telling the Brits and the French, okay, you can't destroy the Germans' trains. You cannot attack their weapons facilities. You can only attack the soldiers coming directly at you. Come on. attacking infrastructure is part of war. If you're not attacking infrastructure, I'm sorry, you're losing. And what do you think Russia's targeting? We've seen the videos of bridges on fire. That's what Russia's targeting. Russia's not targeting people. I mean, they are, don't get me wrong. They're killing way too many people and it's being stupid. But majority of their attacks are towards infrastructure. They're bombing hospitals. They're bombing weapons manufacturers. They're bombing where the food is. Like, they know how to do war. This is total war. That's what we've entered into. The Civil War, the American Civil War, was the first modern war. Every war since then has done nothing but perfect that system. You don't just go to war with the soldiers in front of you. You go with the entire supply chain, all of the supply chain, down to the civilian making the uniforms. You go down to that level. You kill them and everything else. You completely disrupt their ability to make war, not just the people who are actually doing it. It is ridiculous that we have restrictions to someone we support. And we say, oh no, you can't attack their war machine. You can't blow up their infrastructure. That's just wrong. Like, are you fucking kidding me? If I was Ukraine, I'd be pissed off. I mean, seriously, I know they have to dance on daggers with us and they can't just, do whatever they want. They can't take our weapons and give us the bird. That's Israel's job. They don't have AIPAC or Kufi or anybody else. So they've kind of got to, play by the rules, and it's crazy that there even are rules. That's nuts. Especially for, a supposedly capitalist state. It's like, here's this gun, but you can't use it against the people that are helping kill you. I don't know. I find the whole thing fucking retarded. First off, good for Ukraine. Congratulations. Go get you some Russian scalps. They have it coming. But like, for anyone, NATO member or the West, who's suggesting that Ukraine does not have the right to strike inside of Russia, like, fuck them. They invaded. Again, Russia, much like Israel, can stop this shit tomorrow if they wanted. All they got to do is pull back the troops. Ukraine doesn't want to take over Russia. Russia wants to take over Ukraine. So if Russia wants this shit to end, all they got to do is stop. It's easy to do. You could just quit. Honestly, I don't get, I do get it. Putin's waiting out to see who wins the election. I would not be surprised if Harris officially gets inaugurated and is in office, and Trump's bullshit legal shit, if Harris wins the election and actually takes office, I would not be surprised if Putin finds some feather to declare victory on, put it in his cap, and then back out of the whole fucking thing. I get why he's waiting. I think he's really trying to wait this out. He's like, maybe Trump will pull it off. If Trump pulls it off, I win. But if Harris wins now, I would not be surprised at all if within a few hours after her inauguration, her swearing in, that he directs his team, find a victory, find a way to sell this, and we'll move on. It's not like he doesn't have complete control of the media over there and will just direct them to tell everyone we won. Go Russia, yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about those things today. Not a lot going on. A lot of it's the same. A lot of stupid out there. But it's entertaining. So anyway, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.